Hello, 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 everyone. This is Pastor Lan again, here for another edition of Light 360. So excited to start this week. We had a very, very wonderful time last week with some powerful stories, and I'm excited to bring some other stories to you this week. It's going to be a very powerful time. There are some very, very interesting stories that you're going to be hearing this week, and I'm sure you're going to be inspired. So I see people joining us already on Facebook. I want to ask you to please like, share this video. We're streaming live now on Facebook, 2 pages on Facebook, my personal and official page. We're also streaming live on YouTube, my page on YouTube, and also my page on Periscope and Instagram. So, join, invite somebody. This is Light 360 again. This is where you get to hear real life stories and get inspired through the stories of those people, of how God is working in their lives and how they are being light in their spheres of influence. So, before we go to our guest today, I just wanted to share something very quickly before I bring on our guest today. And you guys are going to love our guests today. So while I'm doing that, please keep inviting people, joining. And also, it'll be good if you can let us know where you are watching from. That would be awesome. You'll also be able to join in the discussion by posting in the comments. We're able to see your comments and interact with your comments. If you post on Facebook, you post on Twitter, or post on YouTube. So we'll be able to see it right here in our studio. Yeah, for those of you posting on Instagram, I'll try to see, to monitor that. So I wanted to share very quickly about Light Everywhere, or Light 360. And just talk about the spheres of influence. So in the Leading Lights training, which we organize here at City Life and the Life Development Center, we usually take people through an intensive, a 3-day intensive that helps them to discover what their purpose is. Like we have this promise that we give at the beginning through God's grace, that when you go through this program, when you go through the Leading Lights training, by the time you are coming out on the 2nd or the 3rd day, you will know what you have been called to do without any kind of ambiguity or confusion. So if you have not taken the Leading Lights training, I want to encourage you to reach out to us at info@thelifedevelopmentcenter.org, info@thelifedevelopmentcenter.org to get information about the Leading Lights training. So one of the things we teach in the Leading Lights training is what we call the spheres of influence. Basically, we talked about 7 spheres of life, or 7 molders of culture, 7 places where people can be, where God can put people, basic places where God puts people to shine His light and to extend the kingdom of God. So the first one, and we use the letter A, B, C, D, E, F, G to remember them. The first one, A, is arts, entertainment, and sports. So there are people that their spheres of influence is in the arts, is in entertainment, it's in sports. That's where you have comedians, that's where you have artists, that's where you have musicians and all this. And through that place, God uses them to extend His kingdom, to impact the world, to mold the culture, to extend the kingdom of God. And then there are those who are in business, that's B, business and finance. God uses them in the area of business to extend His kingdom. And then we have C, those who are in church and religion. A lot of people are very familiar with that when it comes to talking about ministry or working in God's purpose. They are very familiar with the church and religion area, because that's where you have people like myself, pastors, prophets, apostles, evangelists, and so on. That's their own sphere of extending the kingdom of God. But that's not the only one. That's not the only sphere where God uses people. God uses people in other spheres. I mean, some people are amazed when I tell them that most of the people that God used in the Bible, they were not, that God used in the Bible were not, you wouldn't call them pastors or priests. No, 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 no. They were business people. Abraham, the father of faith, was just a businessman. He never had a pulpit, you know. Oh, Sunday praise, good to see you from Nigeria, from Lagos. I celebrate you too. You know, Abraham was just was a businessman. He wasn't a preacher. He was just somebody who was very good, you know, in keeping his cattle and, you know, just taking care of business. And God used him, and he's called the father of faith. The same thing with Isaac, the same thing with Jacob, and so on. And then, you know, we move on to other spheres. We have D that we call distribution and media. There are people that God uses in the media arena to extend his kingdom, to share the good news of the kingdom of God, and to mold and impact society for the glory of God. And then we have F, which is education, science, and technology. So you have people in this arena that are teachers. There are people who start institutions or lead institutions or teach, or they are inventors, scientists, people in healthcare, people in just all this kind of arena that God is using. God is using them in that arena too. They are anointed of God too. And then we have F that we call family and homes. These are people that God uses in the area of family, like they minister to people within the family. They minister to kids, widows, orphans, homeless, you know, just people, they just focused on ministering to people. And of course, finally, G, we have government and law, people that God calls specifically to lead in the area of government. They rule, they make laws that impact the lives of people. So in one of those areas, you will find yourself. Sometimes we have a combination of one or two or more. You will always find yourself, you know, in one of them at different phases of life, and you find out that there's a particular one that that's your central place. So that is one of those things that we help you to discover in the Leading Lights training. We also help you to write your mission statement, and also, you know, put your mission actually in your name. So when you remember your name, you can remember your mission on the earth. So I just wanted to say that. So you can reach out to us. The information is there on the screen, info@thelivedevelopmentcenter.org, if you are interested in the Leading Lights training. The Leading Lights training holds here in Chicago and holds in other parts of the world. In the United States, you know, we've taken the Leading Lights training to 12 nations already now. And, you know, a lot of people have been impacted. Last week, we had a meeting with our leaders in all these different nations and talk about what has been happening since Corona and the next steps for the Leading Lights training. And it was so exciting to see, you know, how excited they were and all the different plans that are coming together for the Leading Lights training. So the people that are coming on this show are, you know, people that mainly people that have gone through the Leading Lights training, and, you know, the Leading Lights training had an impact in their lives, and they are now, you know, they are living in their purpose, and so they come to share their story. So I have somebody coming on today that you guys are going to be blessed by, somebody very dear to me. He's a wonderful person. I met him some years ago, and then he came in and, you know, just got involved, you know, in the church with Christ, in discovering his purpose, went through the Leading Lights training, and he has been acting out that purpose, just acting out that purpose. You know, we've shared a lot, you know, we'll be talking about all those things, you know, that, you know, we've done and all that. But he has a very powerful testimony, you know, in his life, apart from, you know, discovering his purpose, but also his profession, and also especially in the area of real estate and, you know, entrepreneurship. How, you know, somebody within 1 year, you know, it was before the year started, it was a tenant. And then the year ended, you know, he built a structure, and he's a landlord, and he's continuing that arena. And, you know, his heart is to use that to help people and also to extend the kingdom of God. So without wasting any time, I'll let him talk about himself. Please, let's welcome to the Light 360 today the person of Lawrence Sodeinde. Welcome, Lawrence.
Thank you, Pastor Land. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure being here today. Thank you.
Good. Thanks for making the time to be here. I know this is work time for us here in the city in the United States. But I appreciate it that you are able to make this.
My
So
pleasure.
yeah, thank you so much. So let's get right into it. We have people watching us, on this, mediums. So they're all looking forward to hearing your story. So let's start with the question I usually ask people. The first one is, who is Lawrence Sodeinde? Tell us a little bit.
Okay. Well, I think Lawrence Sodeinde is just a kind person. I try to be as kind as possible to people, but just in general, I'm someone who doesn't like to take the easy way in anything I do. That's consistent throughout my life. Just a bit of background about myself. I was born in Italy, and my first language is Italian. So I lived in Italy for 10 years. Two Nigerian parents, mind you. My mom and dad are both Yoruba, Nigerian. My household for sure is Nigerian. However,
have you ever been to Nigeria? Sorry to.
I'm sorry?
Have you ever been to Nigeria?
I've never been, but I want to. I want to. My older. I have two brothers. I have two brothers, and the eldest has been when he was younger, and myself and the youngest one has have not been. However, it's in my heart. Truly, I identify with the continent, identify with the culture in Nigeria, and it's really close to my spirit. So I really, I love the fact that that's part of me. So, but basically, as I was saying, I was born in Italy. My first language is Italian. Culturally, I'm Italian, European, Nigerian, and I'm also Canadian. So I spent some time in Toronto, Canada, for about 5 years of my life, and I still have family in Canada, so I'm very much so Canadian as well. So multicultural background, very, very open to different cultures, very, very, very receptive to being a citizen of the world at this point in my life. Also, in regards to what I do, I am a finance professional, so I'm an accountant by trade. I've been a financial advisor also before that, for about 6 years in the past before being an accountant. I have my MBA in finance and accounting. So that has always been huge for me. Financial literacy and financial education has been huge. How to manage money has been a huge factor in my life. It's really propelled me to where I am today. Just to have an interest in money management has been tremendously huge. And one thing you may or may not know about me is that, as you were mentioning the spheres of influence in the past, prior, before introducing me, I was actually part of the A category for the longest time in my life.
Wow.
I was thinking I was gonna be an Olympian. That was my push.
Okay.
100%. I actually I received a full ride athletic scholarship for undergraduate for track and field. In my sport, I was an All-American in track and field in my collegiate years. And for the longest, my entire family is a sports family. Both of my brothers played professionally. My brother played in Italy. My younger brother played basketball in Italy. I ran track and field. My older brother still plays soccer. So we're very athletic as a family. Dating back to my mom, who was a track and field star in Nigeria. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So we have that in our blood. So for the longest though, I wanted to be part of that A category, and I tried to push as far as much as I could until obviously it had to come to an end. Okay. But now, of course, my sphere is in the business category, entrepreneurship and real estate, of course. And I'm truly grateful for the fact that I'm in that category, and it was also spearheaded by being part of certain things like leading lights at City Light. We'll talk more about that in a little bit as well, but yeah, and just in general, that's who Lawrence is. Lawrence is a grinder. Lawrence is someone who's going to go out to get it and doesn't quit, doesn't take the shortcut. And
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I have some questions for you from just what you just shared. Now, how does it feel never having been to Nigeria?
You know,
you have a very nice Nigerian name.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. And honestly, from my perspective, I used to look at it as a blemish on my behalf, because I don't really understand some of the things that my counterparts understand, who are Nigerian, who have been there before. But my understanding is, like, if you make the attempt to learn the language, and I speak some Yoruba, I understand a lot of Yoruba. If you make the attempt to learn the language, acclimate yourself with the culture, that's sufficient for the time being, until you actually go there.
I wanted to tell you that I'm sure some people watching from Nigeria will tell you, "Oh no, no, Lawrence," until you experience Lagos. You feel the sun of Lagos and the hustle and the bustle of Lagos.
Yes, yes.
And that's real now. But do you plan to go anytime soon?
Yes, in fact, we're planning a major trip next year after this whole COVID thing dies down. We were going to do it this 2020, but of course COVID happened, and a lot of things were delayed. As I mentioned to you, I have family here in Chicago. I'm in Chicago right now, and Toronto. I have some family in Toronto, some family in Windsor. So we're pretty much all over, but we would love to all go, and I think that's the biggest trip that we're going to be having planned next year as well. So.
That would be fun. You guys are gonna enjoy. You go to Abeokuta. That's where
yes, sir. That's where my parents are from, Ogun State. So
that's where my mom is from too. So
oh wow.
You go and see Olumo Rock.
There. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I cannot wait. And in fact, I tease about this all the time. I say that whenever I land, I want to kiss the ground. You know what I mean? Because I love it so much.
Somebody say, Lawrence, Yoruba sweet for mouth is food for mouth. I'm sure somebody from Nigeria. Somebody watching us on YouTube. Okay. Yes. So what I'm sure, everywhere we are born, our background, like we're learning the Leading Lights training, our background is as designed by God for our purpose. I wanted to ask, I haven't lived in different nations. So you were born in Italy, you lived in Canada, you live in the United States. How does that eclectic background that you have inform how you see life, and how you live your life right now? What are some peculiar things that some people who have lived in Nigeria all their lives that are watching, or lived in the US all their lives, have never been in all these places or lived in all these places? What are they missing out on?
I would say that, honestly, in other places that I've been, there's a lot of similarities. Like, we all want to be better. We all always want to strive for our better selves. So the one thing that's consistent, whether it's in Italy, whether it's in the US, whether it's in Canada, people always want to be the best version of themselves. And more so, obviously, I've never been to Nigeria. More so, Nigerians. There's nowhere in the world that you find a Nigerian that's stagnant. There's nowhere you find a Nigerian who is not progressing in some way or form of another. You know what I mean? And so in Italy as well, like when I was in Italy, the consistent thing I've seen about Italians is that, of course, they're very nationalistic. They love their country, and they value family. I can't say that so much about America, but I think Americans are more hustle bustle. What I've seen, though, the consistent thing is that we all want to be better. We all want to be the best version of ourselves, and that's kind of what motivated me in a lot of the things that I try to partake in. So whether it was sports, or whether it was business or education, or whatever I got myself involved in. So yeah.
Okay, so now, having seen all these parts of the world, like you've seen all these things and all that, I just wanted to speak how does that affect how you live life right now? Like, what did it do to your attitude and the way you see life?
It taught me basically that I have to, no matter where I am in life, because I'm a citizen of the world. That's what I view myself as. I'm a citizen of the world. So what it taught me is to, never take the easy way out. Honestly, wherever I've been, whatever I've lived, wherever I've experienced, has opened my eyes. Toronto is very multicultural. Toronto is a very eclectic city. It's our New York City of Canada. You know what I mean? Imagine if there was a such. So Toronto taught me that people from all over the world can get along with each other without having, whatever nationalistic preferences, tribal references, language as a what's it called, a roadblock. So it just taught me to, basically be as open-minded as I can be as accepting as I can be for other people's cultures and other people's personal space, overall cultural beliefs. So yeah, it really taught me to be open-minded.
Yeah. Did you make friends in all these places?
Absolutely.
So you have some Italian friends, and
my dad always makes fun of me that he's got he has a letter from one of my lady friends. Mind you, when I was in Italy, I was only in third grade when I left.
okay.
Right?
Okay.
This girl wrote me a letter saying she'll miss me, and my dad always makes fun of me, saying that, oh, you still have this girlfriend from Italy. So we're actually still Facebook friends to this day, which I still I'm proud of. And I still have a lot of friends from Canada because my formative years were mainly in Toronto. So I have some friends in Canada I still keep in contact with, and of course people here as well. So it's important, honestly, like I love the fact that my parents allowed for us to experience all these cultures, because for one, it's not easy to sacrifice leaving your hometown and home country and kind of venturing out to seek out a better life. So I give my parents all the praise for that, because it's not easy to do, and they did it 3 times.
So you speak Italian now fluently?
That's my first language. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my first language. So I still speak Italian.
Say something to me in Italian.
Ok, sono molto contento di parlare con te, Pastolan.
Okay, so to me that's like speaking in tongues. So I have no idea what you said. Maybe somebody watching can tell me what you just said. But
yeah, if someone understands Italian, please, if you can translate. I give you a few seconds to do it, and otherwise I'll translate myself.
Okay, so if anybody who's watching knows Italian, please help us translate that. If there's no one, then Lawrence will have to translate it. Good. Yes. Awesome.
I pretty much said it's a pleasure speaking to you today, Pastor Lam.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That sounded so, the way it sounded so nice. Nicer than when you say it in English. So how does it feel to be multilingual?
It's a blessing. When I don't have children yet, but when I do have kids, one of the things I really want to have in my household is being able to speak multiple languages. It's a privilege, to be honest with you, because for one, it teaches you to be smarter automatically. It activates certain parts of your brain that forces you to kind of be more in tune with language and use it in different interesting ways. But also, I like the fact that whenever we're around people that don't know our language, we can speak our own. And no one will never know what we're saying.
We do to our kids. When we want to say something that we don't want them to hear, we start speaking Yoruba.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Why did you guys learn it when we're telling you guys to learn it? So
exactly. When we were kids, my parents used to speak only in Yoruba at home, and that forced us to understand Yoruba. However, they never forced us to speak it until later in life. This is why I understand all Yoruba. Like when people speak Yoruba, I pick up on everything. I know exactly what they're saying. Okay. But for me, because of my accent and the way I was learned to speak in general, some of the words, the "be" and all this other stuff is hard to pronounce, and I can't do it.
Can you say "we"? That's there are two alphabets in Yoruba that they are not in English. Like the P with the way you pronounce as "we," and then there's GB. That GB is "we." A lot of people who did not like Yoruba find it difficult to pronounce that.
It gets me every time.
Yeah, awesome.
It gets me every time.
To the United States.
I'm sorry?
What brought you to the US?
So my parents, they wanted us to initially speak English because, Nigeria is a British colony, so we speak English in Nigeria. So we grew up speaking nothing but Italian, my brothers and I. So they didn't like that. And we spoke some English. In fact, when I moved to Toronto, after we decided to move to English speaking country,
Mhm.
I knew a few things like, what is your name? How are you? Things like that. But I didn't know how to put a full sentence together.
Mhm.
So obviously my parents chose an English speaking country. They wanted to come to the US eventually,
Mhm.
but they chose Australia or Canada. So the
Okay.
story is that we were supposed to move to Australia initially,
Mhm.
and the visa took too long. So the Canadian visa was faster to apply for, and they got jobs there immediately,
Mhm.
and things worked out. But that's what brought us to Canada.
Mhm.
My mom and dad are both in healthcare. My mom is a registered nurse, and my dad, at one point, he was a professor in public health.
Okay.
So they were both in the healthcare field, and they both kind of wanted us to be able to speak English with our relatives that live abroad. And
Okay.
mind you, I have a huge family that lives all over the world as well. So the UK, all over the US,
Mhm.
some in Canada as well, and of
Mhm.
course Nigeria.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay. Awesome. So tell us about your journey with God. So
yes,
how is that? How did you come to know God and come to
yes.
know Christ?
Okay. So yeah, I think I've always been, exposed to God in some form. My mom and dad. My dad was always a Christian. He came. My grandfather, my late grandfather, was a preacher when he
Mm.
was in Nigeria. My
Okay.
mom came from a Muslim family, so my mom is, her dad was Alaji, so he was a Muslim man. My mom converted from Islam to Christianity when she was a
Wow.
teenager,
That's
and
interesting.
so she's always been the proponent of religion in our family, the rock essentially
Mhm.
in our family for pushing religion. My dad has been solid too, but my mom has been the biggest one in regards to teaching us and keeping us involved.
Mhm.
Um, Also, when I moved to Italy, I gradually fell into the Catholic Church. So we had exposure from the Catholic Church because of school. We had nuns as teachers. We
Mhm.
had that entire education growing up, myself and my brothers.
Mhm.
So that's my first official introduction to religion,
Mhm.
uh, besides, and of course, family,
Mhm.
um, was the Catholic Church.
Mhm.
And I did that for the entirety of my time in Italy. When I moved
Mhm.
to Canada, we discovered a new part of religion, which was Jehovah's Witness.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like we went through the same journey. I went through
yes.
Catholic church. That's where I got my name Gregory. And then I did
Wow,
Jehovah's Witnesses too for
wow,
about 2 years, sometimes, in my teenage years or so.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was
That's
on
just
that journey.
wow. That's amazing. I mean, it's just interesting how things work out. Like I'm glad to learn all these things, but I'm happy to be where I am today. And just to kind of continue the trajectory of my religious
Mhm.
exposure.
Mhm.
After Jehovah's Witness thing died down, I kind of fell into more of a Baptist type of practice. So throughout college, I was going to church in my university. I went
Mhm.
to Methodist school in Indianapolis, so I naturally was going to services on Sundays. I had small groups in the university,
Mhm.
but I wasn't as active as I am now. I would say in the past, I would say since 2017, when I
Mhm.
discovered City Light, I've been more involved. Uh, of course, I love the fact that the church is so welcoming. You know what I mean? It's a community of its own.
Mhm.
Obviously, you're the head pastor, but I love how you preach.
Mhm.
The message. Just like it's so relatable. Like I can have a bad day, or I may have had something that took place like on a Monday. I come to
Mhm.
church, and it just feels like you're speaking to me directly. You know what I mean? So, and I love the fact that it's action based. That's one of the things I really love about City Light.
Mhm.
So, just to kind of round things up in regards to my religious experience and my religious walk,
Mhm.
I'm completely committed to learning more about God, being more intentional about increasing my spiritual life because I could see the differences.
Mhm.
When I wasn't active, when I was kind of floating out there and essentially like out there just kind of doing my own thing, I
Mhm.
wasn't as successful in the things that I was trying to achieve. when I tapped into City Light, I tapped into the actual message that City Light preached and the mission statement of City Light, and took some programs that City Light had to offer, and then and only then I was able to kind of like get to the next level, And I know there's more levels to achieve.
Yeah.
But I know the City Light has definitely opened many doors for me. So, I would just say thank you for being my pastor for the past 3.5 years.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. So one of the things you did was you did the Leading Lights training when you came to City Light. Because one thing for us to have a relationship with God. It's another thing for us to actually discover what He wants us to do on the earth, our purpose. So what was your own journey with that? How was the Leading Lights for you and everything? Tell us a little bit about that.
Of course. I think Leading Lights was eye-opening. I always had an interest. My mom was always, like I said before, she was an entrepreneur, but also very, driven in religion. So she incorporated both of the two. So before she left Nigeria, she wanted to start a business, but she met my dad and got married. So she's always had that drive within her. So, and I'm very much so like her. I think, I've always wanted to be part of, or at least own a business of my own. And then, obviously I was in finance and accounting, and I know the value of tangible assets. I know value of real estate. I know value of just owning, compounded interest and all that. So I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to get involved with, but it wasn't until I went to Leading Lights that became more prevalent. Like, okay, it's like a light bulb went off, like, real estate. Also, my older brother, Richard, he's very business-minded as well. He's got many ideas. He's in the process of patenting different products out there for intellectual property and right now as well. And he's always been a motivating factor for me to kind of stop talking about it and just be about it. You know what I mean? But I think Leading Lights was where I identified, hey, you know what? I can tie my purpose and there's a godly side to it as well, because it's not just for me to benefit from, it's for other people to benefit from as well and improve people's lives. So that helped me combine my overall goal and actually put it into action and put a biblical foundation behind it as well.
Very good. Awesome. So I remember during the Leading Lights training, we did some things with your name, like put the mission statement that you came up with in your name. And I remember your name is Lawrence. So I remember the R. That's the only one I remember. I don't remember the rest, right? But I remember the R. I would say that R was real estate, because it was part of the things that you put together in your mission statement. So tell us about that. So what began to happen with after the Leading Lights training?
Okay, so basically what happened was within months. So at the time I took Leading Light training, it was actually in the fall of 2017, and I was renting an apartment in the north side of Chicago. Very nice apartment, but I was just renting, and of course I didn't have any tangible things behind me. Within months, I was able to complete this Leading Light training, identify my purpose. Then through the church contact, I was able to identify a realtor who helped you guys secure the building of the actual church. And it's interesting how things get connected. So he was able to help me identify buildings of my choice to purchase. And I wasn't just trying to buy a house just to buy a house. So my objective was to have it as a business and to generate money from it, and also decrease my overall cost, and also just kind of like do different things in regards to asset building. So he helped me find a multi-unit property within months, and by February of that year, he pretty much showed me a distressed building that was completely down to the studs. I needed to have vision, because when I walked into this building, past the land.
I know what you're talking about, because when I walked into City Light, the church building of City Light right now, I was like, nah. Even people that came with me, they were like, Pastor Lan, no, not this one, not this one. It was just something in my heart that I just had vision that, we can turn this thing to something. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think, just being able to trust God throughout the process, know that I was covered by God's grace through whatever I was trying to do. That was huge. And then just basically just stop making excuses as to why I couldn't do it. Leading Lights really, really spearheaded me forward and pushed me forward to just really achieve the goal that I had. So long story short, I bought that first building and I closed in July of that year. Again, it was distressed, so it was complete down to the studs. I had to do a full gut rehab. So everything was brand new when it was finally done. Thank God for that. And then, through the church also, I identified my first tenant. My good friend AJ and my ace boom coon, my ride or die. You know what I mean? So yeah, he's been here throughout. He's been supportive. And then other people have also rented from me in the past. In the past few years, what I've been doing is trying to acquire more property. So actually, in the fall of last year, I registered my business as an LLC. I got the business TIN number. I applied for business credit. I got about $100,000 worth of business credit to use to buy other buildings. Also, I took some courses in different real estate practices. I did a broker's course. I did a valuation for analysis of valuation. What is it called? Valuation appraisals. So so I'm in the process of completing that. And then I bought the building next door, and I'm proud to say that I'm able to I'm in the process of selling that now for a profit and taking the money out of there to do something else with it. So just it's been a learning experience. I will never do it any other way because it's taught me how to see a goal through. I had a vision. I had a plan. I took steps to achieve that plan, gradual steps with the assistance of church mates, yourself, Pastor Land, Pastor Omo, with encouragement, the real estate group that we're part of in the small groups, people in the church has just been really, really helpful. But it's a testament to faith. I didn't know. I still don't know where it's gonna go. Obviously I have an idea of where my goal is to end up, but it's been gradual and it's been great. And I wouldn't have any other way. If I had it in another way, I wouldn't want it, honestly, because every step along the way has been a learning lesson and a takeaway. So I really appreciate that process.
Awesome. So, you are really flowing. I want you to talk about that process. Somebody might be watching right now. They have this vision in front of them, just like you had. You knew this real estate thing, and what you wanted to do at that time was basically looked impossible. It was something that was going to require faith. It was going to require courage. There was a possibility of failing, and all that. And you went through a whole lot of things in your mind and all that. Somebody is watching right now, and the person is like, I have this thing. It might be a business. It might be real estate too for them. It might be a ministry. It might be something for them. I want you to just take us a little bit back and talk to that person. What are the things that helped you through? How can, just speak to that person, how they can go ahead and achieve their goals too.
I would just say, don't give up. Don't give up. I mean, there's going to be, in situations of whatever goal you may have, whether it's starting your own business or, anything, whether it could be, anything. Like my situation was to have a multi-unit properties. There'll be opportunities in any lesson. There's always a lesson in any opportunity you're part of. So for example, for me, I'm not in the most desirable area, but I know that the overall effort behind it is a learning lesson. Whether even if I failed, I would have learned. Even with it, now I didn't quite fail. There's been a lot of setbacks. Don't get me wrong. And from each setback, I was able to learn from every setback.
Yeah, somebody said it this way, that failure is just the tuition you pay to learn how you ought not to do it. That's
absolutely. Absolutely. I would just say, within my first month in the property. I had to pay $9,000 out of my pocket for a repair after the fact. Imagine, this is a brand new rehab. I had to come out of pocket, $9,000 out of my own pocket. And that was a huge blow, but God was there to kind of see me through it and help me bounce back. You know, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Again, it's a tax write-off. You know, at the time, of course, it was a big, heavy blow in my pocket. But at the end of the year, it was a tax write-off. I was able to kind of write it off my taxes, and I was able to kind of like continue the flow of progress. So it may look like a big hurdle in front of you as you may face whatever you reach out to be, whether it's I don't know, Olympian, I don't know, or a professional athlete. You're gonna come across situations where you're gonna be on your face, and you don't have to fall forward, so you can still get up. You know what I mean? So I think for me, even now, I'm not where I want to be. Even in 2020, there's been lots of setbacks. You know, with this whole COVID mess. But the objective is for me is that I love the fact that I guess there's something in my spirit that tells me, you know, don't think it's it. This is not it for you. You know what I mean? Keep shooting shots, because you're gonna miss every shot you don't take. So keep shooting. You know. So basically, just don't be afraid of failing. Correct.
Just go ahead, because even what we call failure is part of the process. Actually, that's not fully failure, from what I know. Failure is not the fact that you try to do something and it didn't happen. Failure is quitting. You know, it's when you quit and you don't do it anymore. That's when you fail. You know, but if you do something and it did not succeed, just try again. You know, the story of Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb, right? And they said it did 1,000 tests, if I'm not mistaken, like just testing different filaments, and every one of them kept burning. You know, but then eventually it found the right one, and we have the light bulb right now. I mean, can you imagine somebody doing something, you know, 1,000 times over and over? Many of us will have quit at 10, you know, at 20, you know. So, you know, I just want to encourage those who are watching that there's nothing that God is going to put in front of you for you to do that is going to come easy. That's just the way life is, right? You know, the journey of life or fulfilling your purpose is going to come with challenges. It's going to come with bricks thrown at you. You have to learn to make edifices out of those bricks. You have to just keep at it. Jesus said, "Ask and you shall be given," or keep on asking, you'll be given. Keep on seeking, you will find. Keep on knocking, and the door will be open. He was teaching about perseverance there, that if you refuse to quit and just keep moving on, you will eventually get to the point of breakthrough. So I want to encourage somebody who is watching. What God has told you to do might not be real estate. It might be something else, but just go for it. Just keep at it. You know, just go. Just burn your boats. Just stay there. You will succeed. You are not going to fail. You are not going to fail. You know, so that's the encouragement. We've all gone through it. You know, we've all gone through it, and that's the way we live. You know, right now I'm involved in a project right now, and I'm also going by faith right now. This very moment I was speaking right now, I'm going by faith. You know, I know it's all going to turn out well by God, but I know that there'll be some challenges along the way. But that's the way we live. That's what makes life exciting. I mean, wouldn't life be very boring if everything is just easy and, you know, there's no, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think back in anything I've ever received that I never have to work for it, I was never completely satisfied and grateful. I mean, I was grateful for it, don't get me wrong, but it never lasted long. It never really resonated with me longer than the moment that I got the thing I got. So usually the lesson, the best lesson, the biggest takeaway is whenever you work through something, you know. They say that, you know, I think there's a saying where if you're going through hell, you keep going.
Don't stop. Don't
stop. Keep going. You know, just I think the biggest lesson and takeaway since I've been here in this real estate space in Chicago, and of course I have bigger goals, bigger plans, and it's just a stepping stone. But the biggest takeaway is just simply like make yourself seen. You know, when people see you do something and actively engage in whatever you're doing, people will also come in to help. You know, there's one thing that I do in the neighborhood is usually, you know, once a week or twice a week on a weekend.
Yeah.
I just pick up trash, you know, go out there, pick up trash, make myself seen. People recognize me. People respect the fact that I'm putting the effort. And the beauty of that is they chime in, they jump in and help. That's the first year I was here and I did this. I was completely amazed in the response that I got, because like I came from the suburbs when I was living at home.
Yeah.
Then I went to Indianapolis for college. You know, I spent some time in Florida, all in an insulated space. I live on my own in Chicago on the north side, very, very nice place. Then, you know, I decided to have this goal of real estate and move to the south side, where it's not as beautified. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, not used to this kind of environment, but lo and behold, people are chiming in, people are recognizing my effort, people are you know, doing their best to, you know, recognize my effort, and it's amazing, you know, the feedback. So
I'd like you to talk more about that. I know AJ told me about that, you know, you do that. I was like, wow, that's impressive that, you know, you pick up the trash and do all that. But I wanted you to speak to the place of people in your life, like, you know, how people, I know you're also very, I remember the first few times that we met, one of the things that you asked me is, you know, I would like to, you know, I want a mentor, you know, I would like to be mentored, you know, I would like to read this book, I would like to do that, you know, and everything, you know, and I know you are still like that, you know, you work Pastor Omotu and so on. So what is the place of people? What are, you know, the role that people have played in your lives and in your life? And I think that will encourage somebody who is attempting a mission. You know, I know the Bible says in a multitude of counsel, there is safety. You know, that when you have a lot of, you know, you have input, you have people supporting you, you are less likely to, sorry, you are more likely to succeed than, you know, really fail. Yeah, go ahead and talk about that.
I would just start off by saying, you know, it's important to be, you know, my dad is still alive, right? My dad is still alive. I'm blessed to have my father in my life still. No matter the good, the bad, I still have a dad to say I have a dad. So I'm blessed for that. Throughout my life, I've been blessed. I'm a second born of three. I have an older brother who acts sometimes as my dad still. And I'm 38 years old, right? So having that, and also throughout my life, I've been in athletics. I had coaches. I had men that I can always go to for advice and support, and has been constant. I still talk to some of my old coaches still. You know, last week I could call my track coach from Indiana. We had a good conversation about just what he's doing, what I'm doing. So, and of course now I have you as a counsel, I have Pastor Olmo as a counsel, and others in the church. So it's important to have positive male role models, and this is why I want to seek out a mentor, because I know the importance that a positive mentor can have in your life, based on my experiences throughout, you know, as an adult and even as a child. So this is the reason why I sought out mentorship. You know, and just basically, like I said, coaches have been tremendous. When I wasn't necessarily as wise, or, you know, as I'm not as wise as I want to be. Don't get me wrong. I'm not anywhere I need to
all
be.
Learning. Yeah, we're all growing in wisdom.
We're still learning. But when I was more green behind the ears early on, I took some of that for granted, especially from coaches. But now I'm thinking back, like, hey, you know what? That served a purpose. There's always a lesson to learn. There's always a lesson to learn. I was coached by Noah Stevenson, who was the first Black football player at the University of Missouri in the 1960s for track and field. He was my coach in track and field in St. Louis. Very, very important man. Like, he actually passed away now, but when he was still alive, he was a pastor also. So he used to always coach us, and also I always have a godly message behind his lesson every time we used to go to his office to learn about whatever. So that's been consistent in my life, and I don't see that changing. So, you know, the purpose is to be one of those when I get older myself. I want to give back. Now I have two nephews that I love dearly. And, you know, when I do have children and when I'm ready to have kids, the purpose is to be a positive male role model for them, so they can, you know, pass it on. So, yeah.
Very good. Let's talk about mandates. So in 2018, you know, you were part of the mandate court. So for those who are watching, mandate is a group of men each year when the year is about to end, God just brings certain men into my, my heart to spend the whole year with them, to get to know them more, for them to open up my life to them, for them to get to know me more. I open up my home. We talk about different things. So Lawrence was part of this for 2018. We were part of the 2018 cohort. And it was that year that, you were going through all that, getting the building constructed and, and all that. Tell me, how was Mandate to you? What was that experience like? What was your takeaway from that?
It was very important to be part of a group like that, because it was completely supportive. There's a supportive space. We had each other's backs. We can talk about personal things, relationship things, career things, our goals, all within a safe space. And it felt very supportive. I needed something like that for the longest. I've been in Chicago for a long time, and I never had a space like that. I have friends, I have brothers, but it never felt like that. So being the fact that you were the leader of it, of course, it was a huge plus for me, because you're a man of God and you're someone I aspire to be like. And so that really helped. But just having the consistency to meet once a month, being responsible for each other's safe space and each other's growth, it was huge for me. It was a privilege, to be honest with you. I really appreciate you thinking of me to be part of that.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was such, and I'm doing with Mandate 2022 now. So we're having our own fun, even though COVID, has not allowed us to meet physically. Like we only met physically once, and then COVID just came. So all our meetings have been virtual, but we're doing it. But I remember, your cohort and, the 2019 cohort too, how we will meet and we will eat together. We will, just talk, and we went out to the park. We went out to play games and do all that, but all just sharing about manhood and praying and all that. That was so much fun. We watched videos, we talked, we advised one another, we supported one another. Some people got married during that period. You were doing your building, and and some of the Mandate people became your tenants too.
Right.
Yeah, your cohorts.
It's a blessing. I mean, I think it felt like a true like a bonding experience, because we were all going through different life stages, but we did it together. So, and one thing I love that you say about being part of a church is you do life with these people. Of course, at different stages, but we all kind of were doing our own thing, and we're supporting each other throughout. So that really was huge for me. So I really appreciate that, Pastor Lance. Still,
awesome. So let's look forward a little bit now. So what do you see yourself? I know, part of the things we share at the Leading Lights training is that every sphere that we're supposed to use it to extend the kingdom of God, to touch people, to change the world, in the name of Christ. So how do you see yourself with the real estate, what you are doing right now? Tell me what impact is making on people, how you are shining. This is Light 360, shining the light there. Like you talked about picking trash and all. That's a very powerful testimony in that area. You talked about bringing some people in, who are renting, having a place to stay, and then also just the example that you had to people seeing you, where you started from and how you are going forward in there. But just tell me a little bit more how you are shining that light and what you see, yourself doing, as into the future.
Okay. I would just say that, the objective is to, of course, enrich myself through real estate, and enrich myself not just monetarily, but with assets that I can give back. I want to be able to have, a part of my real estate business is not just for my personal gain, it's for other people to enjoy from it. So I would love to have like a couple of houses that can host people, and whenever people come into town that need a place to stay, they don't have to go to Airbnb or a hotel. They can easily stay there for free and have accommodations set aside for them.
And I remember people don't know, you hosted one of the person that hosted the our Leading Light coordinator in South Africa.
I did
when he came to Chicago.
So that I love doing that kind of stuff, because if I have it, that means we have it. You know what I mean? So that's the objective. Down the line, I would like to have more of these kind of buildings, more of these kind of flats that I can rent out or give for people to use. Of course, in regards to my business and real estate and finance and financial literacy, I would love to just scale up my business and increase my presence, not just in Chicago, but different states. Chicago, Illinois is a huge tax state, so it's very, very lots of taxes to overcome. So I'm looking elsewhere to kind of scale up my business so I can benefit monetarily as well and to give back. My goal, I haven't mentioned this to anyone really, but I wanted to mention to you, Pastor Lang, because
you're not mentioning it to me alone now. You're mentioning it to a lot of people.
my goal is to be a top.
He just said something. He said, I see a lot of people on the block also following suit when it comes to cleaning up their community. Lawrence set a good example for people to follow.
Thanks, AJ. I appreciate it. But as I was saying, I think I want to be able to, the more I can give, the more, it's not about being a cheerful giver is about being able to just give and not expect anything back. My overall goal is to, scale my business to the point where I don't even feel myself giving to the church. It just comes out in large scales. So the objective is to have a business that continues giving back and growing, what Sea Light is starting to do. So, I would love to be one of the $1 million givers, one of these days.
Come on, you. I'm gonna start praying for you now every day. for those millions.
I'm telling you, different things have happened throughout 2020.
Yeah.
But I would love to be that in the near future, because that's really important to me. Because I see myself whenever I give to the church consistently, things happen.
Yeah.
So.
And you were also serving in the stewardship. You were helping with the finance department of the church because you are an accountant too.
Yes.
It's part of your training and all that. You were helping. I remember then, counting offering, depositing offering. In those days when we still used to collect offering physically. Corona has changed changed a lot of things now.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was very helpful. That's very awesome. I mean, talk about that. I love that service. What serving God does, because I noticed that you are like that. You came in, and then you were serving in the tech team, and you still serve in the tech team. You still stay behind the camera now and everything. And you also served in the the finance team. Helping out in different areas. Why do you do that? And what does that do to people? Just tell, what does service mean to you? Yeah.
I think back to mandates. One of the messages I got from mandates is, as a man in the church, you want to be seen actively serving, not just there in presence if you even come to church. So, my main thing was like, okay, all right, you're here, make yourself useful. Don't just come here and take. Go there and give. Go there and give. Give whatever you have, whether it's your time, your skill set, whatever. Just be present and go back there and give. Don't just take.
That's very powerful, because the E in our mandate is, we call it ecclesiastical, like the last word there, which is men. They usually say men are absent in church. That as a mandate person, brother, you are going to be present in your church, whichever church you attend. People will know, they'll feel your impact there as a man, that you are present there. And I'm so glad that mandate people, you, Muiwa, AJ, all Celestine, all these people that went through my Olumide, Ayegoro, all of you guys, you are all active. You are all active. You are present. Some of you are the first set of people that people are going to meet. When they come into church, like that. So I'm really, really very excited about that, and I'm just praying for more men, to have that, because they say it a lot that men are absent in church. There's only women that are there. But we need to do that for our kids. We need to do that, especially for our boys, as we begin to have kids and all that. For our boys, they need to see men that pray. They need to see men that serve, because that impacts them, I was listening to some, it was this, I think it was the Academy Award or one of these very powerful movie star, and talked about the fact that what started his journey was when he saw his dad, when they used to go to church then, and then he would be playing, but he saw his dad, they were doing carpentry, they were doing all that. He saw that thing started something in his life, and he became, I think it's Kevin Costner. So yeah, that was sharing that story.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was the beginning of everything for him. So we don't even know how we are inspiring people, as we serve God. Yeah.
Pastor Line, you have boys, and I can just the impact in their lives that you're doing is tremendous. I mean, sometimes I just think about them. Like I know there would be great men, based on what you're doing. So,
Amen.
I just really appreciate the fact that you're a man of your word. You live what you say, and that goes a long way. I know your boys will be successful in whatever they choose to do in their lives. So,
Amen.
thanks for setting that example for us.
Thank God. Thank you so much. So now let's talk about, we're getting to the end. We are just past our 1 hour. So my last question for you now is, if you were people came to you right now and they say, Lawrence, or you had a conference, like you have a conference, people watch it, and they say, tell us 5 principles of success. What will you say? Like what you have lived with that you can talk about that has helped you? What are the 5 things you are going to share with them?
Let's see. That's a tough one. So let's see. I'm going to say just be kind, for one, because, kindness goes a long way. It doesn't have to be a huge gesture to be kind. Have a kind spirit. That'll take you further in life than you can imagine. What else? Love others. Love others. Goes hand in hand with being kind, but loving others for who they are. And sometimes I struggle with that, but when I do it successfully, I see a difference. So loving others, take them as they are, accept them for who they are. That's huge. Don't take shortcuts. Do not take shortcuts. Me, each time I took a shortcut, I always got burned. So don't do it. Go the long way, go the hard way, because it'll take you further in life. You have more lessons and more stories to tell.
Yeah.
Love God, and don't be afraid to take risks.
Don't be afraid to take risks. So basically, be kind. Love people. Walk in love with people. Number 3 was don't be. Well, I'm trying to remember. I remember, love God, and then don't be afraid to take risks. There's a particular one that you talked about, number 3.
Don't take shortcuts.
Don't take shortcuts. Yes, don't take shortcuts. Yeah, a lot of people want to take shortcuts, and life is not like that. Life, you have to go the whole journey. Now you get assistance along the way and all that. For example, there is stairs, there's elevators. You can have things that will allow you to go through the elevator, but you don't want to cut corners. They said the reason why a river bends and it's never straight is because it's always looking for the least part of resistance.
Yes.
In life, you don't look for the least part of resistance. We do hard things. I tell my kids, I say, we Ijuwalas, we do hard things. I keep telling them, I say, we do hard things. We don't just do easy things. People who do easy things, right, alone, they don't succeed. They're just flaky people. I say we do hard things. I tell them, I say we do hard things, because sometimes, when they are doing stuff, they will get discouraged, Daddy, this is hard. I say, yeah. I said, it's good for you because we do hard things. When you learn to do hard things in life and not just go for the easy things, I'm telling you, the hard things will not scare you any longer. Then the easy things will come. You just do it. It's going to be a breeze, the easy things. But people who just like to do easy things, like easy relationships, once they eat a particular what they call a blockage or something, they just quit. Instead of moving forward. When you break through in any area of life, you don't quit. You break through. You actually develop that winning spirit. And then you just discover that it becomes game, like a game. It becomes fun. So I want to encourage those who are watching. Please don't do easy things. Do hard things. Do hard things. There's this, we talk about SMART goals, right? In the Leading Lights training. There's another one they call hard goals. Hard goals. So hard is like, it's an acronym too, HARD. So number one, the H is heartfelt goals, like goals that really move you in your heart. Like for me now, like I'm gone beyond, like just smart goals, setting smart goals, like, and all that is good. We do that, but hard goals, like things that are heartfelt, that shake you from the heart. Then the A is animated, that when you think about them, it's like there's a picture in your mind, like it's a vision that's propelling you. And then R is required. That was, you just have to do it. If you don't do it, you cannot, you just not be happy about your life. It's required. And then the D part is difficult. So I'll repeat it again. It's heartfelt, it is animated, it is required, and it is difficult. So when you learn to do that, to live that way, you will discover that you actually live that adventure, and you just discover that, those things become like a breeze. So I want to encourage everybody that your building was a hard goal. What some of the things that you want to do right now, they are hard goals. But when you put yourself into it, they produce the biggest returns. Those hard goals produce the biggest returns in life, and then they produce the biggest lessons, you understand, that other people, that people can learn from as you tell your story. So I want to encourage you to keep at it. Just keep at it. I know we're all not perfect. You talked about me. I do all that, but I'm not perfect. I know it. And I know you are not perfect. But when we're on that journey, we just keep on that journey. We fall on our face. We rise up again. We don't quit. We keep moving on. And that goal of yours, of being an example to people, and also be somebody who is wealthy and can use wealth, to help people. Don't quit at it. Keep going. It's something that God has given you, and God has given you grace to accomplish it, and He'll help you accomplish it.
Thank you.
So, last word. What's something you like to say to those who are watching, right now?
I would just say thank you for taking the time to listen to this. To me, I mean, I've done this before, but it's been a long, long time, and I thank you for letting someone like myself, obviously imperfect, motivate you today, or provide motivation with the help of Pastor Land. Again, anything you set your mind to is possible, no matter the size of the goal. If your heart is, if your heart is in it, anything is possible. And you don't have to announce whatever you're trying to do. You can be quietly working towards it, but just work towards something. And have vision for your life, and have faith, because things really do happen when all those things are in line. So
yeah, thank you. And if you need, you want to reach out to Lawrence, maybe you need some advice, maybe you are in some kind of venture where you need some encouragement or some advice, Lawrence is very open. He will help you, give you some advice on it. So please, you can reach out to me, or you can reach out to him. You can find him on social media. He's on Facebook, he's on Instagram. Tell me that your Instagram, and you need to tell me what is it again?
It's at Supreme Loso. So again, so the reason why it's like that, like Loso is what some of my friends from Canada call me, because Lorenzo is Lawrence in Italian.
Okay, so let's say it again. What is it? I want to type it there.
At Supreme _.
Okay. Supreme
Loso.
Roso, right? Loso.
No, LOSO. Loso.
LOSO, yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys check it out, Supreme Loso. So tell us about it.
So yeah, I mean, my name Lawrence in Italian is Lorenzo. So and my last name is Sodeinde, so SO Loso. And Supreme is just kind of cool. It's a cool brand. I like the brand, and I like the sound of it. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm going to be calling you right now. Supreme Loso.
Oh man!
Awesome. It's been awesome. This has been a great, wonderful chat. I look forward to doing one more, more with you as things progress and all that. I look forward to it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you, Pastor Lane. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. So with that, we're going to be rounding up for today. Thank you all for joining us. Really appreciate your time in joining the Light 360. Tomorrow again at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time and 7 p.m. GMT. We're going to be coming back again with somebody else who will also share another powerful story to invite you. Please share this video. Tell people about the Light 360. We're on Tuesday to Friday, 2 p.m. Chicago time, every one of those days, apart from the weekends. So please look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow. With that, I'm going to bring Lawrence back. We're going to wave bye-bye to you. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.